Make it happen, boys. That's right. We've got another episode of Cardboard Conversations. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Saturday, 7 p.m. It's a great time. I'm glad to be here with you, folks.
I mean, it's a bit early for me, but
Right?
it's pretty
I
good
mean,
time most
clearly
of the
Bob's
time.
a fan.
I'm just a big fan.
He's just an oscillating fan. You guys getting behind the scenes of his basement.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, very simple. Actually, my basement is totally different because I live in rural ass Vermont. We have a dirt basement, which is kind of wild for a thing that still exists.
No, actually, well, one of the houses that was near me that I was looking to buy, one of the reasons I didn't buy it is because it had a half dirt basement. So when I went to go like down the stairs, I had to like crouch down like this, and then like the washer and dryer were down there, and it was just a dirt floor.
Oh, dang.
And I'm like, what the what?
I have seen people that have like old cisterns, like a sealed well kind of thing down in like a basement. And they have like ponds. I've seen some people that like have a fish pond in their house just because they used to have like a water holding tank, a cistern.
Huh.
Very odd. Yeah. The things you see on the internet nowadays, Matt.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I've heard of people like they rip up their floor and then they just have like a well and like just out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool if you could do something interesting with that. Yeah, I unfortunately this is just my basement. I'm in it right now. I finished this portion. The only thing it had was carpet, and I put up the walls and made them pay for it. No,
yeah, I mean, your basement's not bad. I got to say, those stairs were super sketchy.
People say that, but I don't get it, man.
Dude, I saw you move up and down them with a lot of like speed and intention, and
they're fine.
It did not give me the same confidence that I saw you have.
Well, to be fair, he's got a lot more experience going up and down there, and that can gain confidence.
Well, that's it. Like I should have known. If he's like, "Hey, man, don't you worry, look at me go," and yet,
Yeah, I don't know. They're slightly steeper than most stairs, but for the most part, they're like just normal stairs. I feel like.
Hey, what up, Dual Brain? Great to have an Ed here this early in the show.
What up, Dual?
Yo.
So what are we gonna get into first? We talking Magic the Gathering? We talking the Pokemans? I heard the Pokemans, the new set, the Prismatic Evolutions, the the LGS near me are actually selling it at MSRP. Can you believe that? They're not even trying to price gouge anybody. Yeah, $85 for Elite Trainer box, which they go for like $280 on it, TCG Player.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the interesting things about Pokemon is, similar to Magic the Gathering, they have all sorts of different products, different offerings, SKUs, right? But the Elite Trainer box and the booster box are pretty much like the two ways to buy cards. And the interesting thing about the ETBs is that it comes with like deck sleeves and tokens and dice. So it's all the stuff you need to like actually play the game. Which really surprises me. Because like, yeah, I don't think I have not seen much active players. That's not really the thing I hear about when I see Pokemon. So one of the highest selling products comes with things that most people will never interact with, which just blows me away.
I swear when I went to bed and I had checked the pricing on the Elite Trainer boxes for Prismatic Evolutions, I swear they were like $280. Now they're $120. So what's up with that?
Well, maybe it was just a little bit of a bubble that popped. There are two different types. There's the regular Elite Trainer box, and then there's like I want to say their Pokestop edition, something like that.
I know nothing about Pokemon.
Yeah, I know almost absolutely nothing about it. I'm interested. It's interesting to me that, like, first of all, it's even still popular. Like, nobody ever plays the game. They just collect the same Pokemon. How many EV cards can you pull and be like excited for? Like, I just don't understand.
At
It
least
seems like
with
that's like the
Digimon,
most
I get it
popular.
because they turn into like tanks and hot chicks. But like with Pokemon, they just stay adorable little critters.
I thought there was like a
Yeah.
sexy Pokemon girl now or something like that.
Okay, there are some sexy ones, but like, I mean, I don't think they're intentionally like attractive. If
Yeah, they're not like probably not. I would think they're
oh, don't worry, Ed,
well.
we're
Let's be
gonna
honest,
cover
they
that in
probably
just a
are.
minute.
Then you got the trainers. The trainers are cute, right? Are they making them cute?
Yeah, but I think in like that same way, where like it is a show made mostly for
I would say
kids,
it's
like
probably a
that
kid.
is the intention of it. But like
Well, I mean,
the same
but
way,
let's
like
be honest
some.
also that the people that are buying this shit are flippers and 30-year-old men. You know, like they're just trying
Oh,
to
dude,
relive
I'm
their
37,
childhood.
and this still makes me feel awkward to look at it that way. At least with like Lorcana, they're human beings the whole time. It makes me feel a little
Well,
less
kind
weird.
of. I mean, you got Lilo and Stitch. Lilo is like 5 years old. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
but her mom's an older sister is pretty hot.
sure.
That doesn't make me feel weird. All those princesses, I am assuming are at least 18. If they're old enough to take the crown and make legal decisions, rule a country, you know, they're old enough to do what I need.
I don't think that's true. Actually, I think back in the day you could be like any age, as depending on like the situation. But
You
I
don't
mean,
have to
probably for the
ruin
most
this.
part.
I feel like you're choosing to ruin this for me.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Speaking about ruining, which secret layer are you talking about, Ed? The weird land secret layer? Is that where we're going? Like, yes, that has been a topic of discussion behind the scenes for us with the what do they call that? Yep, lots of V's in art that represent the feminine and the phallic positives.
It's some sort of expressionism that is definitely lost on me. This is a particularly trippy 1970s inspiration kind of stuff right here.
I like to call this one gaping butthole.
It reminds me of the last time I
two
took
hands just peeling
44.
open a butthole. That's all I see.
It's very Rorschach, yeah.
And the other one's clearly a vagina. If they didn't see that being a vagina, then I don't know.
I mean, you could say it almost looks like a conch shell, you know, coming right at you.
Absolutely
like
not. Yeah, that's a terrible picture, but absolutely not.
I mean, that you can't see it all. It looks completely just blown out.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to it. It's all blown out.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what to tell you guys. I think it's the same thing, Matt, that's happened with you before with like HDR or whatever.
Yeah, HDR blows out. Yeah, it's very annoying.
Okay,
Anytime you share your screen. I had to disable HDR because of all of that kind of situations. But either way, everybody knows it's the Vagland. It's tempting to buy them just because they're Vaglands, like because they might be like controversial, or I just worry that they're going to be like available like all the time. Like right now, there's like a secret lair. The one that I bought like 2 months ago, they're still up. I'm like, what the? Come on now, how secret are these lairs?
Is that better? It looks better.
Slightly.
Yeah, that's good.
Guten Tag, Wendigo. Good
up?
evening to you.
But yeah, I don't. If the WotC people didn't immediately see vagina, I don't know what the hell they're looking at. Like,
I mean, I bet a lot of them don't know what it looks like. They're not used to seeing it much.
Oh wow!
I mean,
I go to parties and people don't know what I do for a living. Get off of it, buddy.
I mean, believe it or not, Mark Rosewater actually has children.
You know, it's funny. The island is the only secret that's sold out. It's sold out. Wow, both the foil and non-foil.
An interesting move. Okay, and we talked about this in the last episode that there's a high likelihood that we're going to see an increase in secret layer prices, pretty much across the board, and in specific for themed ones. It's weird that they doubled the amount of lands. So you get 100% more lands for only 33% more price.
Is Bob going for like the 1980s, early 1990s, like early talk show through a tin can situation? Like,
well, again, trying to set up my new PC. Hold on a second. Look, I may have just bricked my phone.
Yeah, it just sounds like he's coming through like a.
It sounds like an answering machine, except it's live.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Wow. so I even have the mic muted.
Well, it's not using that microphone then. It's using something else.
It sounds like a really good bank teller.
Yeah, like a clear shitty microphone bank teller. It's probably using like the webcam microphone or something.
I believe it is probably using a webcam at this point. I don't know why.
You know, because Windows likes to default to random bullshit just to fuck with you. That's pretty much the explanation I have to give.
I mean, if StreamYard wasn't free at this point, we would have figured out something better by now.
Pat, when did you drown Bob? He's definitely underwater. Ooh, true.
Hey, don't put this on me. It's warm enough in Ohio. He was at the water park. It's not warm there.
It was sort of warm. It was like 37.
It was above freezing today here as well, which kind of just made stuff worse. Like, realistically,
Yeah, I'll just say everything's now just a big sheet of ice.
Yeah,
which means that I have to go out there and I have to salt. And right now we've got 27, feels like 7, and then Monday's supposed to be -1, and then Tuesday's supposed to be -9.
Jeez Louise.
So that'll be fun.
Speaking of things that have gone hot and cold, real flux there. Matt, PoE 2 has had a really big update. And I know, Bob, you've probably got a lot of input on this as well because you've got so much investment into it. How has the update affected your play?
Well, for me, a lot more than Matt, I believe.
Yeah, I was say for me, I haven't even noticed a damn thing, to be completely honest. But I built a new character. Well, okay, actually, I'll say this. I played my warrior for about 2 maps. I died in one of them, and I'm like, well, armor's still garbage. They buffed it by like 15%. That didn't change a damn thing. And then,
what up, Time Capsule? Member for
you,
6 months. Dang, gangsta.
That was longer than that. I feel like did it like reset?
Yeah, probably comes and goes.
That's weird. On like Twitch, it just even if you miss a month, it still like counts out the total number of months. Anyways, yeah, I played the warrior and it still felt like garbage, and armor still felt like shit, and life's still bad. So I was like, all right, well, I can either spite play the warrior and continue to hate myself, or I could make a new character and actually enjoy the game for what it is, and just stop being stubborn. So then I decided that I was going to build a monk, an Inquisitor monk. Right now I'm using Tempest Flurry to level, but I don't know what I'm going to end up finding at the end game. But basically just using a Inquisitor monk because they go energy shield and life, a hybrid situation, and they have like pretty good effective hit points with a lot of evasion. Energy shield, for whatever reason, they get the special treatment of they get 60% increased energy shield when life has nothing. Life has 3%. Energy shield gets 60%. Seems very
one-sided.
Lopsided there. Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. The logic there is because they talked about when their PoE 2 was coming out, they're like, we made it so that like life is just on the gear and like you don't have to expend a bunch of points getting it on the skill tree. But then energy shield is the same freaking situation as PoE 1. Actually, if not, it's probably better because there's no like PoE 1. There's like 10%, 20% life node or energy shield nodes. There's no like 60%. In PoE 2, there's like literally a 60% increased energy shield node. Which is just crazy.
Pretty beefy.
So like as I'm leveling, I have more energy shield than life on my level 80 plus warrior, on my level 40 monk. It's like what logic is this? I don't understand. And then they're like doubling down on like their 1 death per map situation, which I just don't understand. It's like forcing everybody to play like a hardcore light. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. But some of the stuff was like, there wasn't, the patch was all good. Like technically, it was supposed to be all buffs. It's just, in my opinion, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't all of what I wanted. It was some of what I wanted, but not all of what I wanted.
And what about you, Bob? Was this a pleasant change, or was just more sour in your soup?
I think I'm far less sour than Matt is. But I think more my concern was with the dev chat that happened earlier this week with Darth Micro and Ghazi. And when they were asking the devs addressing many of the concerns, it really felt like there was a severe elitist attitude coming from the developers, that while they were kind towards upper end Uber players, the message to casuals and lower end players was get good scrub. And it felt a little off putting. First off, I know Matt doesn't agree, but Darth Micro and Ghazi, they're playing end game content. They're killing the pinnacle bosses. They're way ahead of where I am, and I got 600 plus hours in it. Right? I can't touch that because I'm not good enough. And
Ghazi's good. It's just DM's fairly casual.
I get it. You got some personal beef with the guy. I don't care. I'm just saying that he's doing pinnacle bosses, and 90% of the populace is not. So however he's doing the content on multiple characters and doing it well enough that he's interviewing the devs. And my point with that is they were simply, if you want to look at it that way, preaching to the choir. It would be like Watsy only taking advice or doing interviews with just, I don't know, just modern players, right? And that would be their scope of looking at all of Magic. And so they're not addressing the largest audience, which would be the casuals playing Commander. They're not addressing Standard. They're not addressing Vintage. They're just focusing on the modern players because that's where the competitive World Tour players are. Well, there's a much wider audience that they're essentially neglecting. And, if they want the game to grow, perhaps they need to take a little different approach and be a little wider in their scope, because they're pretty much there with the campaign, that it's very doable by an average casual player. Whereas, like, the end game, even Ghazi and Darth Micro said during the interview, 90% of the players are never even going to see this.
And I think that that's kind of understandable. I mean, realistically, I put in 20 hours and I still didn't beat the campaign. And doing that over, I don't think I'd ever really get to end content. And that's probably the same with a lot of people. I think most action role-playing games, that if you're not a diehard player, if you're not particularly dedicated to playing the game, that most people don't ever make it to that end game content. And I think that that goes for a lot of games. I mean, shit, I've put well over 100 hours, 150 hours, I think, into Baldur's Gate 3. I've never been to Baldur's Gate.
It is the last act, so.
Well, that's what I mean, though, is like, it's that end game content. And isn't that what, like, running maps is the equivalent of? And
no, it's a bit different because you're comparing like a story, like in Endgame. Think it's more like in Last Epoch, the Echo system. That's a better example because you've done the Echoes, right?
yeah,
that's more.
But I thought you got to that very quickly. Like, Last Epoch was a very quick game compared to Path of Exile 2.
Yeah, I guess.
At least I felt as though I like leveled up and got to the end game content a lot quicker.
I don't think it's like super quick. It's still kind of a long time, but it's definitely not like right now. In order to beat the campaign, I can get it done in like 12 to 15 hours, depending on if I could probably go faster if I really like prepared the gear and prepared the skills and like prepared a build. I could probably get the campaign done in PV2 in probably less than 12 hours. But it's still a pretty long time considering that's like a lot. That's like balls to the wall, really, going
dedicated play. Yeah, not me. As much as I've enjoyed the game, there are just so many other things that are starting to soak up a lot more of my playtime. So I'm glad that Path of Exile 2 has been, the dev team's been attentive to it, that they are still rolling out more updates. And
I'm still early access, so
well, that's the thing is, there's 6 more classes and 50% of the skills still yet to come. So I think that
it's too. 3 more acts of the campaign. They'll definitely adjust the end game before then. They've already made some quality of life changes for the end game. That's a lot. Most of what the patch was end game stuff. I don't think they touched the campaign like at all. They didn't need it. I think they bug fixed a bunch of stuff. There was a lot of nerfs to monsters. They made stuff more visibly clear, so you can actually like see stuff that when it's on the ground trying to kill you, you can actually see it for the most part. They like try to make some of the lesser liked maps for like it's called the Lost Towers. They've been revamped and they added more tower maps, so you're not feeling like the same crappy map is showing up every time. I don't know how much of that has actually like done anything. They've adjusted like monsters density and type in a lot of different maps. So like they've done a lot of endgame changes trying to. So like to me, the way PoE 2 functions, and we'll see if it changes when I get there. I'm at level 50 something with the monk, so I'm like kind of there. I'm like I'm on Act 4 or 5. But the way that the monk or the way the end game works right now, it doesn't hit the same as PoE 1. Like PoE 1 has like a very, I mean, obviously it's a progression. It's a system that they've put together over the course of many years, and they've like kind of, I wouldn't say they necessarily perfected it, but it is pretty dang good. Like the ecosystem for Last Epoch doesn't hit the same. I was worried that the PoE 2 system was so close to the ecosystem that it also wouldn't hit the same, and I'm correct in that. For me, to me, it feels no different than the ecosystem from Last Epoch. It's the same kind of, you're wandering around this big open area. You don't really have any kind of focus. You're like clicking on nodes to do the specific little like things on each node. And then when you add the 1 death per map, I'm just not, I don't know. It's just a massive turnoff. Like the amount of shit you lose from the 1 death in the map, and I'm actually not even somebody that typically dies that often. My experience right now is so sour because I've been playing a character that's the worst in the game. It is by far not even close to the worst in the game.
Quit it. You'll have more fun.
yeah. I'm on the monk now, so it's unfortunate.
Holy moly, it's Prime 406 games. Man, I ain't seen this cat in ages. What up, though?
Yo.
And hope you've been well.
It's unfortunate because the warrior has like it has like the shining moments, like the peaks and the valleys are like very
too high highs and too low lows.
Yeah, like you'll have moments where you're like, that was sick. Like you have this thing called Hammer of the Gods where you like call down a giant hammer that just hits the ground and like decimates everything. It hits so hard. But then you have like an attack that like takes 3 seconds to wind up. And it hits hard, but you're taking 3 seconds standing still, winding up. And every other class in the game moves while they do something. They're casting, they're moving. They're shooting, they're moving.
Right, yeah.
For some reason, Warrior is the only one that has to stand still
is
the weakest one. Why? Yeah. It's the weakest defensive one defensively, and it can't handle the standing still. Like, I don't know. Like, the only way you can stand still in the game right now is if you go max block, strength stacking, to get a bunch of life, go max block and armor stacking, and like then you're like pretty tanky. But like the amount of gear it takes to get there and the pain it takes to get there, I'm good. I'm past. I'll move on. I'll wait till they fix the class, and I hope that they agree that the class is broken because, like Bob was saying, the podcast, Jonathan, who plays Warrior, he claims he thinks everything's Gucci. He thinks everything's fine. He's like, I don't know what people are talking about. It seems great. Like, yeah, the campaign, it seems fine, but if you haven't done the endgame mapping, it feels horrible. Campaign feels great. They did a great job in the campaign. Claps all around. Campaign's great. They probably shouldn't have released the endgame, to be completely honest. I think they probably should have just had the campaign and just been done with it. Because
I think if they hadn't released the endgame stuff, the diehard fans of like the transfer players of PoE to PoE 2 without endgame content, they probably wouldn't have stuck around as much as they have. And I think that there is something to say about that, is though it's still in early access, we're constantly hearing about Path of Exile 2 news, which, for better or worse, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, funny, transitioning it from that, did you hear about the Elon Musk situation? Are you in the know?
Bro, so, okay, from what I understand is that Elon Musk is supposedly like number 12 in hardcore in the entire world on Path of Exile 2. And then there was a little bit of gameplay, and I saw the gameplay action of it. And as someone who's played 20 entire hours of this game, I definitely realized the guy had no idea how to actually play. So my imagining is someone like ran him, or he just like bought someone's account.
Yeah, and then Asmongold called him out on it. Not necessarily like directly to him, but he like covered the video that Quinn did. And then apparently Elon got all butthurt about it, and he removed Asmongold's checkmark and gamer tag on Twitter. And he told him that he's a maverick independent, and he leaked some DMs between the two of them because apparently Asmongold DMs Elon Musk. So he leaked some. So he's not even his own man. He can't even make his own decisions because Asmongold said that he had editors that edit his YouTube channel. And Elon took that as he had editors that like control how he plays content, not edits his videos, literally like controls him. He's like, so like the dude's so out of touch and so fucking like twisted that like I just don't. It really calls to attention that like what else is he lying about? Because he clearly did not level that character. He definitely boosted it. Which is against the terms of service, by the way.
Really?
I'm surprised GGG could ban him. I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever ban the strongest man in the world, as far as like wealth wise or the wealthiest man in the world. But
I mean, it probably does them better to have him on there as kind of a low rate cheater. I mean, that's probably not the most impactful thing. That's not like duping items, like as bad as that. But to have someone like hacker run your account or whatever for you, it definitely, that's not good looks. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, like to have that on news is probably better for grinding your games than to not have him bring that much publicity, good or bad, to their company.
Well, can you imagine the headlines? GGG bans most powerful man in the world. Like that's also a pretty good headline too.
Or richest man in the world. I mean, let's be honest here.
I mean, money is power. So I feel like if he wanted to, he could be the strongest man in the world. Like he could be like the Iron Man situation.
Well, it's funny because and I think Bob and we've talked about this before, is because in America you have to declare your earnings and stuff like that, that realistically the wealthiest person in the world is probably like a sheik in Saudi Arabia. That is like, there's a speculation in the economic market that there's a trillionaire that exists, and we just don't know because they don't have to tell anybody shit.
I was thinking a little different conspiracy and kind of related to a lot of that, but we talk about all these powerful people that supposedly have trillions of dollars and whatnot. How do we know that the tops of corporations aren't just AI generated people, that it's just AI slowly taking over corporations? I mean, the video looks real now if you look at a lot of these like AI generated people, the response.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And most of your interaction with upper corporate people are through apps like Teams or some sort of Discord type application where you don't actually meet Bob in person. You don't know that Bob's actually real over here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's a conspiracy that's been bouncing around in my head that AI is taking over and manipulating us, not like Terminator style, but like sheep, occupying us with TikTok and getting us to move the pawn pieces around on the board for it, so that AI is just already in control. We just don't know it.
I mean, there's the whole dead internet theory that like there's a lot of could be's, maybes out there, man. I'm just gonna keep pretending it's real until I get catfished for the 4th time. The last 3 were just, flukes of bad luck.
I'm just saying, how would we know? How would you prove
it? Well, that's the thing. It's like you can't. The simulation's so good. The smaller you zoom down, the better it gets. I don't think there are atoms in chairs until you start, pulling out magnifying glasses.
So that was just a thought that I had. I was like, oh, it would make a good movie. And then I started thinking, what if that shit's real? Like, what if it's actually happening? How would I even know? I've never shaken the hand of the CEO of my company. She just is there on video calls.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, the CEO of my company, he sends out these emails that I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why do you keep sending these emails?
Right? It's AI perfecting itself.
Maybe. AI is definitely very strong.
Speaking of Ed, I don't know, man. Between getting an editor and just getting a really good AI program to cut your stuff up into shorts or whatever, that part's getting a lot better.
Is it
Soon we'll
though?
just need a program to do all the stuff.
So far, I haven't found any AI editing tool that actually works worth a damn.
I've seen mixed results. I find it good for ideation. That's where I find the best payoff for my use in AI at this point is to come up with ideas to like workshop.
Oh yeah, I mean that's fine.
And pictures
are
and
good.
5-second videos. Sora is pretty interesting.
Another thing that's really good to use it for is like dungeon mastering for D&D, like bouncing ideas off of it, getting I could probably be like, hey, I have this really cool idea, flesh this out for me, and it'll just be like okie dokie, and then they just spit out like 5 paragraphs worth of crap.
Well, just wait till you can just open your laptop and your DM is AI. So
yeah, they were talking about that where like a Roll20 or a D&D Beyond, they would have an actual AI for dungeon mastering, specifically trained by a bunch of dungeon masters. I mean, realistically, if you think about it, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there where there are dungeon masters where they could compile, they could have it listen to all of the content out there, and they can like designate like this is the DM of this video and just listen to that voice and kind of like get like the different styles together, and you can like just pick like, do you want the Matt Mercer DM AI or do you want the whatever? It definitely is possible. It might already exist. Who knows?
You just made it flash in my head. It's like AI is Neo in the Matrix, and in 2 minutes, I know Kung Fu. I know DMing. It just and it's done. It knows how to do it.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man.
Especially with some of the stuff NVIDIA's pushing out soon. I mean, their software side of their company is doing incredibly well. And just a complete aside, there are a lot of people talking about these tech reviews for like the 50 series and DLSS 4, and that it's 3 out of 4 frames are going to be generated. That's not good statistics. It's actually 3 out of 5. Because you need the first frame and the end frame, and then it generates the stuff in the middle. So at most, it's 3 out of 5. Come on, people, simmer down. Better math. Thank you.
I don't care what the hell's frame generated, as long as it looks good to my eye. That's all I care about personally.
Right, and I was having this discussion with some of my coworkers, a bunch of fucking nerds, the whole lot of them, and we were talking about this. And one guy, Alex, he's saying, "No, I need 200 plus frames raw rasterized because of the games I play." He's playing, super high end Twitch shooters, Call of Duty, CSGO, stuff like that, where he's got to have incredible zero latency gameplay. He'd rather play at 1080 at 250 frames than to play at 4K 60. Whereas I'm quite the opposite. If I'm playing Satisfactory or a City Builder, I don't care about latency, like input delay, anything of that nature, because realistically, I just want that game to look gorgeous,
Yeah, as long as it isn't like, as long as you can't really feel it as much as like, obviously you can feel a little bit of input delay, but for the most part, I haven't really noticed input delay on almost any game. But I've always had like a higher end system, so I've never really, even if there was there, it was so small I didn't notice it. I don't know if I'll buy any of the 5 series graphics cards. I have a 4080. I don't know that it's a big enough jump for me to care.
It's not. You'd have to go up to the 5080 for it to be worth it, unless all you want to do is get in on the software side, and DLSS 4 won't work on 40 series or lower. So it's like, but you're getting so much raw performance out of what you have, what I have, what Bob's got, that I don't think it's worth it for any of us to spend $1,000 minimum to upgrade just the fucking graphics card.
Well, yeah, but they claimed the 5070 for like $500 is going to be a 4090 performance.
Again, back to
we'll see.
Raw performance.
Let's not shit all over them before they have a chance to prove themselves.
Yeah, I want to see the results first.
And
Gamers
minimum,
Nexus
I think it's going to make,
once they get the results for testing actual in-game tests, that's what I want to see.
At a minimum, I think it's going to make gaming laptops more affordable.
It's impressive what they did. Gamers Nexus just did a video on the evolution of their cooler. Their new card, their new 4090 or 5090 is a 2-slot card, and it's thin as fuck. It's actually insane. They've revolutionized the vapor chamber. They've added like specific angles that like dictate how the water wicks one way or the other.
Well, and full pass through fans. I don't know why that wasn't a thing the whole time.
Because I think the PCB had to be too big. Now that they've changed, now that they've like reduced the size of the PCB, now it's easier to do. I think.
I think where even NVIDIA is running into some struggles, though, is going to be power generation. And even if we start getting 1,500, 5,000, 10,000 gigawatts, power supplies in your PC.
No, to your point though, I could not run on my computer right now a 5080 or above. I don't even think I could run a 5070 in my computer. I got a 650 watt power supply, and it was a great idea when I purchased it, but it's 500 watt draw for a 5080. I think they said 750 for a 5090. Holy shit.
No, 575 for a 5090. The maximum you can do is 600 until you start getting into more. You'd have to have 3-pin connectors for power, because each PCI Express power rail can only handle 300 watts. So you would need three. You need 3 PCI Express rails in order to go higher than the.
My point with all that is that it's going to become a serious financial concern at some point to run your PC. Like, it's going to draw more power than your damn microwave or your refrigerator. To where, holy crap, I better turn this off like at night because.
Well, I'm going to save some money on the heating oil because I've got my computer on. It's just going to heat up my apartment for me.
If you live in like Alaska, you're golden. That's like your heater for you.
Yeah.
Dude, I will tell you, I can tell my desktop when I'm gaming all night. Like, I have a little thermometer next to my room. Just from being in here for the hour that I've been in here, for 40 minutes, I came in here. It was 66 degrees. It's now 70, and then by the end of the night, it'll be 75.
Yeah,
like it just heats. Right. Every now and then, I open the window. I gotta let the hot air out.
Well, as the heat creeps up, the supply of something seems to go down. Matt, one of the things I've been hearing about a lot lately is that the Innistrad Remastered collector boxes are going to have a pretty low supply. Bob, I think you had mentioned something about this as well. What are your thoughts about this? Having less, is this a better thing? I mean, the prices are high. Isn't this what we always wanted?
Well, you want collector boxes to be collectible, right? That's what that's so you do artificial scarcity, and there you go. But yeah, I mean, the only reason I even think that the numbers are lower is because a lot of the stores are claiming that they're getting like less than half of their allocation. Rudy, for instance, he also got I think he said he ordered 2,000 boxes and he got 900. He sold out within minutes of his sale, and it wasn't even that good of a deal.
Like, it was he sold out a long time ago, Matt.
It was $329, I think, a box for collector boxes, and I think the minimum was the maximum was 2 orders. I didn't bother ordering. I've spent a lot of money in the last month and a half on stuff. I just had to skip something. You can't just buy every fucking thing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. There's a balance, right? I don't know how crappy my audio is, and I just want to apologize to everybody that this was a bad idea. I should have listened to Sherry Vegas. She said it's a bad idea. You should wait and do it tomorrow. But
you have a whole week,
right? But yeah, of course, yeah. I don't read instructions. I just do. But with the artificial scarcity, Pat, my response is there needs to be a balance, and WotC is just shit at determining what good balance is. It's either too much, too little. Look at, and I don't want to just point at the collector boxes for Innistrad. Let's look at the Secret Lair debacle. Let's look at the Monty Python debacle. For both, the Secret Lairs from Monty Python and Marvel were both shit shows and left the audience unhappy. So there needs to be a balance of both, where you make enough to satisfy initial demand and then stop you don't do the Modern Horizons 2 once it's already met the initial demand and nobody's complaining, and then make 3 more fucking print runs. So
my biggest problem with Secret Lairs is the inconsistency. They're so inconsistent on like whether or not something's going to sell out or not, and I know that's partially due to like player demand, but like they'll come out like why are like the islands are sold out, basic lands are sold out because they look like vaginas. Like I don't know. I feel like maybe they shouldn't have that be so limited, or the vice versa. The other Secret Lairs that are still up after months of being up. Maybe they should.
That's what I'm looking at right now. Is like there's still Dungeons and Dragons stuff that's available.
Yeah, why are they up? Take them down. What are they doing?
Well, I think that this is like their air quote chaos vault that they're trying to convince us that is worthwhile, and it's just a different way for them to bargain bin their stuff and show like a different way to still. I mean, look at this. The $30. Yeah, low stock. It should be because this is months old. This is from last year.
The one that I bought whatchamacallit, the misprinted coma cards, that's still up. Why is it still up? Take it down.
I mean, these look cool, but this should just be like realistically to me, this looks a bit more like a cool wedding invitation.
It's so bad they're on sale.
Yeah.
They're trying to fire sell them and they can't get rid of them.
Yeah, man.
They're just really, really bad at.
It's not using your microphone, Bob. It's still using the webcam, just so you're aware. I think it's I don't know if it's StreamYards.
Yeah, it might be StreamYard. Yeah, check that side.
Yeah, check this. Mine keeps defaulting to the wrong one every time I open StreamYards, which I don't know why it's doing that now. Is that like maybe it's
it loves to suck?
It could be a default of Firefox. I have to check. It really
there is a secret layer of really cool looking cards, like the Tome of the Astral Sorceress.
Yeah,
but
nope.
Yeah. I mean, you look great though.
Look great, feel great. Yeah, we can see you now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's any better.
Nope.
Yep.
I'm switching to every possible microphone that they have.
Oh.
I got farther away somehow.
Yeah.
And now we can hear ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
That's we'll figure it out by next week.
That's every literal.
Well, don't use that microphone because we're like just hearing ourselves constantly now.
Okay, hang on.
I guess go back to the previous one. The
one. I just took off the echo cancellation and the reduced mic background noise.
Slap the microphone.
Slap that thing.
I want to see if it's using that microphone or not because it sounds horrible. I don't feel like it is. There's no way.
I don't know, man.
All right. But yeah, it's interesting with the Innistrad Remastered. I think remastered sets should be limited as far as the collector boxes go. Rudy's talking about he thinks these are $600-$700 collector boxes. I think it's certainly possible with the poster cards, but I don't know. Especially if they're really limited. But right now they're at $340 on TCG Player.
It sounds like it's that microphone now.
Sounds like it's what microphone?
Yeah, whoa, buddy. That's the ticket, you loud bastard, you.
Okay, hold on.
You're way louder before.
How's that? Is that any better?
We are Gucci. We are Versace. We are looking.
Right, well, I'm gonna stop pushing buttons because this is just bad.
Yeah, right. Just leave it. Just hands off.
Is it okay? I hear you now.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah.
All right. So we're getting it. I'm not using OBS because I can't get the Elgato to play through OBS for some reason, and so I couldn't use that as a virtual. So I don't have all the controls and the mic filters and whatnot. So it's something. This is my face.
My face.
But again, when it comes to WotC with all of that they're doing, I'm going to say this, as much as we shit on them, they're doing something, right? They're clearly making changes. And I think that underprinting is a better option than overprinting. And over time, people will see that, people that have the boxes. And so I'm going to get back into that same, recommendation that I had initially for Innistrad, which was, if it's a short printed set, the thing that makes it valuable is that it's short printed. The second you crack that shit, all the value leaves the box. Elvis leaves the building. It's bad. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. And I know
that's one of the reasons I love MTG stock.
Enjoy it, right? What's wrong with buying and enjoying? And I'm going to tell you right now, and this is not bragging, but we are probably, the three of us sitting here, not in the same financial demographic of the typical Magic player. And we look at that
for sure.
Yeah, that's not worth
especially if you're trying to factor in like the actual market audience, marketed audience, right? What they put on the packs is that it's like a kid's game. I make way more than a fucking kid. God, they're like useless though.
But it's the thing where kind of when you have no money, fuck it, just burn it all. And you're never going to get out of that hole. You're never going to have the cards that you want. There will never be that satisfaction, except for like a crackhead, the instant gratification right now. But then the entire rest of the day and the rest of your life is shit because of the health implications. But you felt good for 30 seconds. And that's sort of the idea here. You felt good while you're ripping that wrapper. And then when you're looking at your bank account for the rest of the week and have to choose between gas and food, it doesn't feel so great.
Right.
Yeah, there was a YouTuber that I watch, and this is a little bit of a different situation, but he was doing a fundraiser and he was talking about, it is for a good cause. I'm not saying it's not. This is, like I said, it is definitely a different situation, but it's kind of the same theme.
When you say for a good cause, is it like the fires in LA or like sick puppies or some shit?
No, it's the flooding that happened in North Carolina.
Okay, yeah, it's not like
there's still a bunch of damage down there that people, like, the news has stopped covering because it's old news, but yeah, it's still like they're still recovering. They still need help. So he's doing a fundraiser for that. That's all fine. I like that. That's great. So nonprofit organization, perfect. The thing that the way that he was describing things makes me think of the same way that people like treat some things that they don't need. So like, again, different situation, but it loops in. Is that like he was like saying like he's like go to your couch. He's like lifts the cushions up, grab some change. It's like, if that's all they have is spare change, you shouldn't be buying Magic the Gathering cards. Like if you're like choosing between food and gas versus opening a pack of Magic cards, you probably shouldn't buy Magic cards. You should just eat, save up, get a savings, be able to like live not paycheck to paycheck if you can.
Right.
That is financial advice, by the way.
Yes, not specifically to any person though. That's just generalized.
General.
Don't be poor.
Try not to live paycheck to paycheck if you can.
Yeah.
Skip buying the $7 coffees and the whatever else that's bad. I mean, I spend so much money per year, well over $1,000 per year on energy drinks. Like, that's not a good use of my money. So I drink an energy drink a day. There's 365 days in the year, and each energy drink costs around $2. Sometimes they cost $3. So if they cost $3, it's over $1,000. If they cost $2, that's less, but still a lot of money on just a drink, And that's not counting all the pop that I drink. 12 packs nowadays are like fucking $7 or $8 a piece now, just because they can. People just keep buying it.
Especially, if you're drinking liquor too, that becomes a very expensive habit.
Liquor, especially if you go out to the bar. Holy, the cost.
Yep. That's one of the reasons why I drink alone. I turn off all the lights, lock all the doors, and
Sorry, something must have restarted, and just like my audio went blank. Then all of a sudden, it can't access your mic. Oh, now it can't access your video. I'm like, what's going on
Don't worry.
cares?
The second we started talking about computer shit, everybody left. So don't worry. It went from like 12, 13 down to 1. And it was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just like Sherry and me watching at this point.
That's fine. I mean, look, YouTube punishes the shit out of us.
Oh, whatever.
The audience punishes us too. Like they don't want to hear about. First off, they probably didn't want to hear the most in-depth analysis of the PoE changes.
Yeah, and you coming through with like 240p audio wasn't like winning, market share.
No video. It just not our best show.
Oh, Pat, did you see the performance on the most recent Bellatra video?
No, I have not looked at any of that. Every once in a while, I check to see how like terrible that last Nimrod's video I did was.
Yeah, it also did bad.
Yeah,
so I found something out. So the most recent Bellatra video has 140 views.
Oh, bang on.
Which is way better than any of the other ones. There's a little tick box that you check or uncheck rather that says publish to your subscribers feed / something or other.
Oh, I've heard about this. Yeah.
Basically, the idea is that you're removing it from your subscriber feeds, and then the YouTube algorithm doesn't know whether or not to push the video, so it tries.
Yeah.
As opposed to if you post a video and your subscribers don't even watch, the algorithm most likely also won't push it either. So like it's like I've unchecked them from all the Bellatra videos, and we'll see if they continue to do better than before. We'll see. I don't know. That checkbox is like you might as well just uncheck it for all your videos if that's the case.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get random videos to pop off than because I don't know. Depending on when you're growing a channel, you can't. You're never going to trigger the algorithm. It's just not going to happen. But anyways, that's for the $1 subscribers. That's the after show. We'll talk about all that stuff.
That's for the 99-cent crew.
We're kind of already in the after show.
Another 7
Even
minutes.
Time Capsule left, and that's like our most dedicated watcher.
He's like, yeah, F this. This sucks.
I got dinner. No, but I've been playing a bunch of various games lately. I mean, Cyberpunk's definitely been taking up a bunch of my time. Surprised how fun that game is again. It works really well. It's not broken. Looks freaking gorgeous. Although I just got Stardew Valley again, so I think I'm actually going to try and do a playthrough series of that.
So, are there 2 different types of or 3 different types of HDMIs?
There's definitely 2.
I know there's like a mini HDMI and an HDMI.
Yeah, but there's different versions. There's HDMI 1 and 2, to my knowledge.
And then 2.1 is that new stuff.
I think that's what I have because I tried to plug an HDMI cable in, but I don't know if you can do an 8K to 4K adapter.
You can use if you have an 8K cable, you can use that on a 4K TV because that's what I have for like no real reason. It's just it was on sale, so I picked it up. It's just probably not the issue. Yeah.
I mean, literally, I couldn't plug the HDMI cable in.
But there is also DisplayPort.
It wouldn't fit?
No.
Yeah, a lot of times like
DisplayPort then.
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit, it's DisplayPort.
What?
If your HDMI cable doesn't fit, it's a DisplayPort port. It's not an HDMI. There is only one HDMI port. Like the cable doesn't change. It's just the functionality that changes.
Right. Yeah.
The bandwidth that changes. So if you're trying to plug an HDMI cable into a DisplayPort, yeah, it's not going to work. Most video cards nowadays don't even have HDMI ports.
Or they have one, or it's like 2 and 2 or 1 and 3. But yeah, HDMI is pretty much just like a single.
Well, but the DisplayPort has like a square side and then an angled side.
Yeah, it's got like a little.
This has angles on both sides, but the HDMI cable still doesn't fit.
Go USB style on it. Flip that shit over. 50% chance it's upside down.
No, it was not it. Trust me. I was down there looking at it. I'll look at it some more. Maybe I'm an asshole. I don't know.
It happens.
Happens a lot more often than I like.
Yeah.
Anywho, you know, I was watching Rudy, and I mean, could he shill anymore for box sales, man? And then and all he does is complain about how stagnant, you know, old Magic is.
Yeah, he's definitely pumping the new market for sure. He's trying.
Well, I think that's where he's seeing, because he doesn't sell his old stuff. So, I mean, realistically, he has to pump his newer product line, you know, the things that are air quote hot in people's eyes, because he sees that nobody really cares about older Magic cards. So he's just buying collections, showing those off from time to time, and dilly-dallying and, you know, self-promoting.
Make no mistake, that's how he makes his money.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't knock it, you know. You put a top hat on him and a fancy tie, and he could sell you tickets to the circus.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's already got a card that basically has him.
Yeah, exactly.
Top hat. Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people realize that, and they kind of listen to like, oh, well, Rudy said, and then it affects the market, and it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Things are what they are, and him really pumping the value of collector boxes, and I'm resistant to the collector box idea, because again, it's not something, if all you do is collect collector boxes or bought collector boxes, when your friends come in from Vermont, you're not going to sit down and crack a bunch of collector boxes to draft.
You're probably not going to open a bunch of collector boxes.
We kind of did when Pat came to town. I mean, we opened some collector packs.
Yeah, I mean, for the price of it, the original, like the Innistrad Midnight Hunt, for the price of it, we could just open those collectors and like do it that way.
Well, I'm just saying,
I get your point. Yeah, there's a play aspect, an actual usability that collector boxes do not have, and I think that's the trade-off, is the collectability versus usability aspect.
And you know, maybe the serialized will be enough. Maybe the super special versions of cards will be enough to maintain value over time. But I have a feeling the farther love you too, the farther you get from release, the less special that feels, because they keep coming up with more special versions and more serialized cards, and it just as you get distant from it, it feels more gimmicky. Like, if look at some of the older collector boxes, they're not experiencing the same boom, right? Even though they're the super secret special versions of those cards, they didn't experience the same boom. And it's I think that the collector market for Magic is very much in a state of flux at a minimum, and at a maximum, it's only experiencing temporary hype because of gimmicks.
Hashtag Pokemon market. Well, I mean, if people want more spicy takes and good opinions, they're going to have to start paying that 99 cents a month, because they're just about out of time here. They're going to have to join us over on our members stream, and one of us is going to grab the link for that. I mean, I'm going to aim to do it, but Matt's probably going to beat me there.
I actually am here because I was
He's there.
grabbing stuff. Get shareable link.
Boom! I got it. Boom. Yes.
Did you though? I don't know. They're both the same timestamp, but I think mine went first.
Oh, killing me here, guy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. You missed the free one. I don't know what to tell you, Coach. Oh, by the way, we should get together. What are you doing on Monday?
Coach, I don't think you missed much on this episode. I don't even think it's worth a rewatch.
This is a banger, Bob. I'm gonna actually clip this one. I'm gonna make some shorts out of this.
50% of this podcast was pretty decent.
I mean, yeah. I honestly thought our banter about the card stuff was really on point. We have an educated outlook and really good opinions. Plus, I'm handsome as shit. I mean, honestly, they're lucky my video works this well.
Have you seen this beard? How many people have a beard like this?
Yeah. All right. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up for this week, folks. Oh, I will not be here next weekend. Sorry. I actually do have a life, and we're going to see some friends. So Sorry, Matt and Pat are going to have to carry the show without beautiful Bob next week. So appreciate you, Coach, and everybody else who watched this Saturday. But until next Saturday, we are Cardboard Conversations at Cardboard Odysseys. Go ahead.